Good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome to the September 2019 Worldox Virtual User Group meeting where I, Paul Perdue, the nerd, will be talking about security classifications, and where Mary Jo, the legal technologist, will be talking about the security settings report that will happen so fast you'll wonder why you haven't ever seen it before. So without any further ado, I'm going to press all the cool buttons, not just some of them, but all of them, and get out of here and get into the WD admin for the demo system so that Mary Jo can start with her topic, which is the security settings report.
Okay, so the WD admin has a place in here, and if you're an administrator and have been back into this part of the software, you will have seen this and be familiar with it. If you are not, you probably have an administrator here that takes care of all this for you, but we're going to show you, if you are in WD admin, there is a group security section of this where we can actually lock down users or groups of users to do certain features or activities in Worldox. So we can get very granular in here, and we can have different groups that we set up and assign users to that then we can say that group of users has rights to do either these features, or they can have access to this cabinet, or they have different ethical walls that we build. There's all kinds of information that we can lock down per user or per group. And so what I'm going to show you is a way to get a quick report to see which users are in which groups already so that we can see what rights that they have been given. So this is going to be like such a long process. It's going to be scary, but it is something that is so easy, honestly, that most people don't even know that it's here. So if we go up to the little security button at the very top here in the upper left, and you click on that, there's a little print button. And if you click print, it's going to look at it. It's going to give you the rights that everybody's in. So if you've got, you see who is in the everyone group, and so all the users that are in the everyone group should be everybody, right? And then who is in the home office group, if there's any users defined, in the test group, which users are there, Worldox managers group, and so on. So if you have other groups defined, this is going to give you just a very quick glance at what they have and what manager group or what group they're in that they have access to. Now these groups in turn are then assigned different rights and things in the software for WD admin. So you'll at least be able to see which users are in which groups, so that then if you do have a group that needs to have a user added to it, you'd easily be able to see that they either were or weren't in that group already. So that's it. It's a security and it's a print. So that makes it very simple for you to do and find that out.
And what I was getting at here in the background was that if we then look at other things like features or users or cabinets or ethical walls, for instance,
and we do security.
And do security print.
So there isn't really any ethical walls. Let's go to cabinets.
Yeah.
Let's go over here to.
Good one.
Yep. So, well, everyone's allowed to that. Let's see if we, well, let's just go here and see which ones are allowed in which cabinet. Yep. So I was on the groups, so you saw that. This is saying that everyone is allowed to the cabinet.
The client cabinet.
Yeah, the client.
Right.
So that's probably, so yeah, that's the other part of that, is that you can go.
It's specific to the section that you're on in WD admin in the group security section.
So if we go to features, that'd be a good one to see which users have rights to which features. You can then go ahead and print, and everyone is blocked on the address rules, but everyone else has rights to everything else. So it's going to kind of go down there.
This particular system is pretty wide open.
Yeah, this is a demo system.
But nonetheless, this shows you that we've got all users blocked
from the address
rules. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So as you get into these different sections, instead of having to just jump back and forth and look at them and try and figure it out and map it all out on paper, you just print out these different sections and lay them out on the desk in front of you, and it's a much easier way to work with this. Now,
so we're going to stay here, Paul. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, and so what I've done is I have set up a specific group called the test group, because a lot of times we get people that are trying to set permissions on documents, document at a time, person at a time. So for instance, if we go into Worldox and take this document here and say that we want to apply security. We'll hope that we don't already have it. No, we don't. And so they're going into custom, and they're saying, okay, I want to add Bob and Joanne and George, and I want to restrict them to find and write, and then I want to add somebody else and restrict them to this and that. Well, if you have a group set up, you can simply pull the group in and set your parameters from there, and then as that group changes, if Bob is gone now and he has been replaced by George, if we simply take Bob out of the test users group and add George to the test users group, then all the security that's been applied across the board for that group will still apply, but we've changed the users. So it's not really rocket science. The two things we're showing you today are definitely not rocket science, but they're things that a lot of people don't think about when they're either looking to see what security has been applied, or they're looking to apply security to specific documents in particular matters. So my part of it is really just set up the group or the groups in security in WD admin. And the way you do that is to simply come in here, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of this particular section and go right back in. You go into WD admin and into group security. You make sure you're on the user groups section, and you simply click create. Or if this test group, which has these three users, all of a sudden needs to change, maybe we're going to remove this user, and we're going to add another user that wasn't already in the group. And there we have it. So by setting up your group here and then managing which users are in it, and then using that group specifically to assign your permissions to your documents, then you're able to very quickly and easily manage those document-based permissions on a going forward basis, even with groups that are going to change.
So one thing, Paul, to make sure, so we can create groups in WD admin underneath the security, but when you create them, there's a special box to check to be able to use that group to secure documents.
Thank you.
So maybe let's create a new group and show them that.
Let's create a
because
brand new group.
you'll see we've got other groups there that we don't see on that
test
custom.
Group
Two.
2.
Yeah.
And this group can be used to secure files and objects. That's really all that you need to do. And then that will show up when we're in Worldox.
You'll have to restart Worldox for them to see it.
They would show up as a group that we could add. They aren't going to show up now because I haven't restarted Worldox. But if I did restart Worldox, then test group 2 would also show up.
Yeah, I think people make the mistake of they come in here and think, oh, we'll add a group, and then they come to this screen and it's empty, and they're like, well, how do I get a group in there?
So what you do, you either reset your machine, because that's the ultimate way to reset Worldox, or if you have the permissions to do this, we close and reopen Worldox. Now, many of you may not have permissions to do this, and that's fine if you don't. You would then just need to...
it's right back here.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. And so now when we go into group security for a document or security for a document in Worldox, we will see that next group. So I'm going to declassify because this already had some security on it, and I'm going to reclassify it. And now when I go into custom and add group, that's funny.
And so that's I let you go, Paul, because I did it on purpose.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
Because when you set it up, I
forgot to hit save.
Yeah, and even if you did, the other thing on here is there was a section there that said who can see this group, and so if you say only the group members can see that there's a test group to put on there, then only the group members are going to be able to do that security. But if you say everyone who can see this group, and with everyone, then you could do that. And the reason you didn't see it is because you logged in as your Worldox instead of the 00 admin.
Okay.
So that's a good thing to know, that if you want everybody to be able to use that group to secure, you need to say that everyone can see that group.
Yes.
I did purposely let you do that.
And the other thing that I forgot to do, Mary Jo, to be quite frank, is I didn't hit save up here after I added the group.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be a good thing too.
Okay, so we won't go into that. But
when you restart, that would then
when you restart, that would show up. That's correct. So that's it. How to quickly see how your security classifications are set, and how to quickly create groups that can then be used to apply very specific classifications to documents without having to define the user groups each time you're applying those permissions to a document, and therefore one that can be used going forward when people leave that group or are added to that group at a later date without having to go back and reclassify all those documents. And there you have it. Next month, we are talking about Web 3.0. It is out. If you've been waiting for it and you want it, you can get it now. Just call us and talk to me. But we will actually be showing it, talking about Web 3.0. It's a mobile way to get to your documents in Worldox without having to be in the office, and it is now free, except for the installation part. We would charge you to install it, but it is now included with your Worldox GX4 license. We're also going to talk about filtering, just because we like to talk about filtering. Because filtering is a good way to, once you've done a search, to narrow down your results, and a lot of people don't know it's there. So Mary Jo is going to take that topic, and I'm going to talk about Web 3.0. And if we go over here and go to attorneycomputersystems.com, noticing that I have emphasized the last S in the word systems, because without it you won't get to the right place. I can either hover over or click on. I will click on the word videos, but if you hover over you get a short list, and if you click on it you get this longer list. These are the 6 titles that we have in our video series. 4 of them are live events, and the 2 at the bottom, the eBytes and the Paul and Mary Jo Show, are pre-recorded. For the live events, we have the 3 virtual user group meetings, and you know what those are because you're currently in the Worldox virtual user group meeting. We also have them for Practice Master and Tabs, and sometime relatively soon we'll be adding NetDocuments and Cosmolex. And then we also have our Coffee Pot webinars, where I invite somebody from a company, a third-party company, that's got some cool thing that can help enhance the value or the effectiveness of one of the core products. And I invite them in to show us their product, talk about pricing, answer questions, basically tell us how we can take better advantage of, in this instance, Worldox. So those are our 4 live events, and then we also have the eBytes. That's our, we record 3 of these, or should I say Mary Jo records 3 of these each month, 1 on Tabs, 1 on Practice Master, and 1 on Worldox. These are short 2 or 3 minute videos where we take something really cool that we think we can explain pretty quickly, and we explain it pretty quickly. We also record 1 Paul and Mary Jo show a month. Mary Jo and I alternate, and these are more complex topics. They're broader. Maybe we have to go deeper into the weeds to explain them fully. Maybe it just takes longer to explain whatever it is. So these topics we give a little bit more time. We'll spend 10, 15, sometimes even 20 minutes getting deep into the weeds of whatever it is that we're talking about in that particular show. If I click on one, let's say for instance the Worldox virtual user group meetings, and click on more info, we'll be taken to the page that describes this and then is our jumping off point for this title. So we see the title of the video series, a short description of the video series itself. Since it's a live event, we see information on the next regularly scheduled event and what the topics will be. We see the 4 fields in the register button to register for the quote-unquote live event. And then as we scroll down, what we'll find is that we've got recorded versions of everything else that we've ever done. So when we perform them live, and when we give these webinars and bugs and things live, we are recording them also so that you can see them later. If we were to scroll to the bottom, what you'd find is that we have, how many pages is it? 16 pages. I think it's 5 a page. So we've got a lot of these Worldox virtual user group meetings. Just that particular series has quite a few titles, quite a few videos. We have somewhere between 800 and 900 videos on the site, and they are there for you free of charge, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So grab a glass of wine, start the gas fireplace, cuddle up with your iPad and your Worldox virtual user group meetings. I don't know what could lead to a more enjoyable night. Mary Jo, do you? That's it for today. Everybody have a good rest of the day, rest of the month, and we will see you next month. Thanks much. Bye-bye.